Okay, so we're all seeing this incredible AI boom, right? But what's happening behind the scenes, behind all the code and cool algorithms, is a massive physical problem that's starting to bubble up. So today, we're going to dig into the 2026 Data Center Power Report from Bloom Energy and see how this AI revolution is about to hit a wall, a power wall, and what that struggle means for the future of everything.
First things first, we have to get our heads around the sheer scale of this AI gold rush. And look, this isn't just some small tech update. This is a tidal wave of change, and if you don't understand how big it is, you can't understand the power crisis it's creating. I mean, this quote from NVIDIA's CEO, Jensen Huang, just nails it. Remember how the iPhone basically created a whole new economy out of thin air? That's the kind of disruption we're talking about. But here's the kicker. Unlike your iPhone, which fits in your pocket, this whole revolution is built on this huge, invisible infrastructure that's, well, starting to creak under the pressure. And this number? Yeah, this is the engine behind all of it. Think about it. AI model complexity is multiplying by almost 1,000 every 3 years. That kind of crazy digital growth needs an equally explosive growth in, actual physical stuff to run on. But here's the catch. All that incredible digital growth, it's slamming head first into a hard physical limit. We're just getting to a point where the demand for all this computing is way, way bigger than our ability to actually plug it in. The numbers are just staggering. And we're not talking about some slow, steady increase here. The power demand from data centers in the US is on track to nearly double in just 3 years. That kind of growth has never happened before, and it's putting a crazy amount of strain on the national grid. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. What this chart shows us is something we can call a power expectation gap. So you follow the line for a big data hub, right? Like Northern Virginia. The green dot, that's when developers need the power to go live. But the blue dot, that's when the utility company can actually get it to them. And we're talking years of difference here. It's a huge disconnect. And this isn't some temporary problem. Listen to this quote from someone who's right in the middle of it. They're basically saying, hey, this isn't getting better, it's getting worse. The bottom line is, our power grid just wasn't designed for this kind of intense focused demand. So what happens when you can't get power where you are? You go where the power is. And this power shortage is triggering this massive reshuffling of the whole data center industry. It's like a great migration, but instead of land, companies are chasing kilowatts all over the country. I mean, just look at this map. It tells you everything. The deep green spots, that's where all the growth is happening. States like Texas and Georgia, they're just blowing up. But then look over at the West Coast, the traditional heart of the tech world. It's fading. Power is literally redrawing the tech map of America right before our eyes. And this table, it makes it even clearer. Texas is expected to see its market share just explode by 142%. At the same time, old school markets like California and Oregon are seeing their lead just evaporate. And it's not because they're not innovative. It's because they've pretty much run out of juice. And this isn't just us guessing. This quote from a VP at a huge hyperscaler basically says, yep, we're moving our money. The message couldn't be clearer. Capital, construction, it's all following the electricity. Where the power flows, that's where the future of AI will be built. So all this chaos is actually forcing a complete reinvention of the data center itself. We're not talking about server farms anymore. We're talking about a whole new beast, the AI factory. For one thing, they're getting bigger, a lot bigger. By 2035, we're expecting nearly 1 out of every 3 new data center campuses to be over a gigawatt in scale. That's a huge move towards these massive, centralized power hogs. And to give you an idea of what that means, a single one of these new gigawatt facilities will suck down as much power as a fifth of New York City. We're not building server rooms anymore. We're building energy structures on the scale of entire cities. And because the public grid just can't handle it, what are these tech giants doing? Well, they're becoming their own power companies. By 2030, we expect a third of data centers to be running on their own power, completely off-grid. That's a 33 times increase from where we are now. It's a massive, massive shift. And it's not just the outside. The insides are changing completely too. So think of it this way. A traditional data center, it was like a super smart person working alone, limited by how fast they could think. We'd call that compute bound. But an AI factory, that's like a whole team of those geniuses, and they all have to talk to each other constantly. Their problem isn't brain power, it's how fast they can communicate. That's network bound. And what that really means is they're running everything at 100%,
all the time and burning through this insanely expensive hardware every year and a half to 2 years. Yeah, so with all this power and intensity, you can probably guess that the old way of wiring these places is, well, it's obsolete. They've got to cram more power into smaller spaces and cut down on waste, so they're moving to totally new electrical designs. High voltage, DC power, that stuff's going to be standard in just the next couple of years.
Okay, so we've seen this huge shift in where data centers are built, how big they are, and what's inside them. So what does all this really mean for the future of AI?
Well, it all boils down to this, and this is probably the most important thing to take away from all of this. For like half a century, the thing holding back computing was Moore's law, basically how tiny we could make a transistor. Well, that's not the game anymore. The real bottleneck for AI's future isn't the chip, it's the plug in the wall. It's electricity.
And believe me, the industry is in an all-out race to solve this. The hunger for AI compute isn't slowing down one bit. So the race to build bigger, faster, and even more power-hungry data centers is just going to keep going full throttle.
Which leaves us with one last really big question. You know, as AI gets woven into everything we do, and the companies building it start acting like their own power companies, who's really in charge? Maybe it's not the people with the smartest algorithms. Maybe it's the people who control the electricity. We're building this incredible new digital world for sure, but the real question is, who's going to hold the power switch?